So a pretty good first half. Everybody enjoying themselves, I hope. So I think we've seen how Symphony's adding value, connecting our customers in a secure environment, improving workflows, increasing efficiency. I want to shift gears now and talk about how we're extending that value, working closely with our partners, bringing AI, data, and humans securely together on Symphony. We've been building a powerful community of AI partners. If you were with us last year at Innovate, you got to see our partner Canva come on stage and show how their AI analyst bot is able to source and connect to data and create and distribute amazing insights to their customers over Symphony. This year, we are bringing two new partner firms on stage that we're very excited about. First up, we're going to hear from Intellimation. They're a deep tech vertical AI firm focused on very complex issues like collateral management, post-trade workflow. They are leveraging Symphony to communicate, connect, and drive real value and impact into their customers' workflow efficiency. After that, we're going to hear from TrueMid. If you're not familiar with TrueMid, they are a leading fixed income OTC platform. Leveraging Symphony's network and our agents, they're able to distribute valuable data and content seamlessly into their customers' secure environments. It's pretty cool. So with that, I'm going to hand the stage over to my colleague, Michael Koike, and my friend and partner from intellimation.ai, Aaron Armstrong.
Brother. Thank you, Brian. Now, long before ChatGPT became a household name, there was Intellimation.ai, a deep tech vertical AI firm whose products are now integrated in over 100 corporate and investment banking workflows. They support controls, middle office, and front office initiatives for investment banks across the UK, US, Europe, and Asia. Given their longevity in the space, their solutions have been stress tested across major global events such as the global pandemic and the crisis in Ukraine, proven to be indispensable during times of extreme volatility. Now, to tell us more, we have Aaron Armstrong here, and I'll pass it over to you, Aaron.
Thank you, both Brian and Michael. It's truly an honor to be here today. Well, look, let's give you a glimpse of what our joint offering can deliver with just two of our apps. Welcome to the world of pre-trade, where legal agreements like ISDAs and CSAs determine who you can trade with and how. The faster these legal agreements are in your systems, the faster you can trade. So I'm going to show you today how one of our AI agents can ingest these complicated and lengthy documents with both precision and speed, whilst handling breaks on the go with Symphony. Time to start the demo. So look, if we go to our home page here in Symphony, and we click on the legal agreements, up comes this custom dashboard. Now, Vector is going to monitor your communications. It's going to intelligently extract data, key data, from chats, emails, and attachments, whilst capturing the tricky nuances of context and convention, and read these documents like a domain expert. Suddenly, manual data entry is a thing of the past, and the journey to trading got a whole lot quicker. So if we dive in on one of the records here in the queue, left-hand side, you'll have the source document. Right-hand side, you have cleanly extracted fields. Now, if these fields are already in the system, then the system will allow you to reconcile these also, which also means that it's particularly useful because these documents keep getting updated. Now, another very useful feature for our customers is the fact that when you click on the right-hand side, the extracted values, it'll automatically take you to the section in the document, the source document on the left-hand side. Full traceability, no guesswork. Now, what's also good, again, with complicated documents, is that Vector here will segment these long, lengthy legal agreements into their different sections. It has an ability to read multiple attachments in the same chat with the same email. Now, as you can imagine, legal agreements are, funnily enough, quite complicated and have complicated fields. Now, this is an example of what's called a multi-hop extraction. Once Vector knows that a base currency is Canadian dollar, anytime Canadian dollar or the base currency is referenced in any part of the document, Vector will know to apply that final value. And if you look here at eligible currency, it's a very good example. You have base currencies mentioned on the left, but Canadian dollar mentioned on the right with all the other eligible currencies. Well, Vector is also good at sorting out your communications into different queues. So here we have some items which are fully processed and ready to be sent downstream. And then on the other side, we have items which are flagged for either review or for exclusion. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to have a real-life blocker issue. We're going to click on sample 11, and what we've noticed here is that someone, as does happen, has accidentally shared the incorrect document. Now, this has stopped your workflow in the cold. So how are we going to deal with it? Well, we're not going to go via email, the usual ping pong of email. We're going to try something new. We're going to click on the Symphony icon, and instantly we'll get a chat. And in that chat, we'll have the right counterparty, we'll have the agent, and the agent will automatically send a message to the counterparty explaining the issue. Here we go. The client has worked it out and has added back the correct document. Now, all I need to do is the update command. And then what occurs is that the agent will re-extract the data, it will run fresh checks, it will seamlessly update the app, and this particular record will put it into the STP queue, the straight-through processing queue. Now, as we all like, this is a good color. It's all green. That's a brilliant look for my dashboard, and I'm only saying that because I'm Irish. But the bottom line is that Vector could technically fully automate that break resolution process. And you wouldn't need any user commands, but the decision to have a human in the loop always lies with you. And in this situation, that workflow, that back and forth could have taken hours, but we've resolved this in minutes. Right, we're going to take a little stroll to the other side now. The other side is post-trade. Welcome to post-trade. Those legal agreements, they're executed, they're in the systems. Onboarding is complete, trading has commenced. Now, this will only add to the thousands of margin calls your team are dealing with on a daily basis. They're having to parse chats and emails. They're checking terms versus those legal agreements. They're extracting data from PDFs, Excels with no standardization. How do we help you take that pain away? Well, if you go back to our home page and we click on margin bookings, again, you get the customizable app. Real-time stats can be displayed, and ultimately, this is very good for MIS reporting. Now, Vector can be pointed at any location to read and identify relevant content. And in this case, I'm going to run the NLP on a margin inbox, an email inbox. Now, Vector is capable of reading the margin inbox, identifying true margin calls, extracting critical fields like call amount, value date. All at the same time, it will move irrelevant content to a different folder, which will appear as a different queue in the app, and it will flag all your breaks. Now, the The cadence of which you can run this is solely up to you. Today, obviously, for the demo, we've run it manually. You can also run it manually. But hopefully, in the time I've spoken, that 100 email plus attachment inbox has gone to 0. Now let's take a look at the STP queue and the non-STP queue. In the STP queue, the good thing is you have that dual panel view again. On the left-hand side, we have the email, we have the attachments. On the right-hand side, we have the precise extracted details. This in itself cuts your review time in half. No more endless scrolling through inboxes to verify. Let's move across to the non-STP queue. We have a couple of relevant emails. And what you have is Vector has that ability to source those, pull them out of the queue, the STP queue, and highlight that they're there for exclusion. But there's one other email that stands out, and that's been flagged purposely for review due to a legal mismatch. Vector has the ability to identify discrepancies between what's in the margin call and what's in the fundamental legal documents that drive that. And here, it looks like the issue's to do with the value date. The email is saying T0, but what does the CSA say? Because the CSA stipulates that. Well, let's find that out in a couple of clicks. Oh, there you go. The CSA stipulates T+1. That's what the system expects. Let's fix this. Let's click on another Symphony icon, another chat room, right counterparty added, agent is added. The agent will explain the issue, AKA settlement date mismatch. Please confirm. And once the counterparty agrees to the mediation, all I need to do is enter the confirm command. And the agent will again book the corrected data. It'll remove the break, and it's going to move this record to the STP queue. Again, favorite color, no bias. But the point here is that suddenly all of these can be sent downstream with one click of a button. And that fundamentally lets you all have more time on higher value tasks. Now again, as they say back home, one for the road. So on that point, we're going to do now an outbound margin call using Symphony. So we're going to create a chat room. We're going to add the counterparty. We're going to add the agent. And this time, all we need to do, we're going to put in the call details. And we're going to wait for the response. So once they agree, all we have to do is book it. And that will ultimately log this particular margin call right back into the app. Now, at the start, I said I was going to give you a glimpse. And hopefully, you can appreciate what I'm about to say in terms of what that meant. That ultimately, Symphony is now your secure, AI-powered ops hub, which can turn fragmented communications into near 100% straight-through processing and inject automation, control, and intelligence into the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. That was an incredible demo. We have time for a few questions, so I wanted to get straight into it. You mentioned vertical AI, the term vertical AI. I'm not sure that's a familiar term for everyone in the audience, so why don't you tell us, what does that exactly mean?
That's a great question. We're one of the few companies in the world that have built our own language model. And fundamentally, when we think about workflow automation, that was a necessity because 80 to 90% of all data is unstructured. Now, what differentiates us from the household LLMs is that both from a company perspective and from a model perspective, in particular in this case, we are laser targeted on financial services. And this is ultimately why we are called vertical AI.
Awesome. Thank you. And that brings me straight to the next question. In terms of your competition, we know how fast this space is moving and how many firms there are here. What are your unique selling points and how do you differentiate yourself from competitors here?
Well, funnily enough, I was a banker myself for a long time, and I would always say accuracy is sacrosanct. So whether you are booking a trade, sending a cash flow, reporting to the regulator, ultimately there's no room for error. Now you can tackle that accuracy in a couple of different ways. I'll just highlight two today. But one is turning a probabilistic output into something more deterministic. Because without determinism, how do you have traceability? How do you have auditability? And that's exactly what the regulator wants. And secondly, and this is a simple concept, but it's difficult to engineer, having the model understand when it's not sure, and when it's not sure, it should raise its hand. Because the reality is, and a lot of models don't do this, is that if you always give an answer, how do you know right from wrong? And so I'd say these are two things that would differentiate us from our peers.
Awesome. Just one more question. Symphony and Intellimation, what do we have next to see? We saw two awesome use cases. What's up next?
Well, the good thing is, like you said, we're slightly long on the tooth, so we've got quite a lot to offer with Symphony. So fundamentally, to start with, we're going to have, showed you 2 of the 5 apps that we're rolling out for the prime brokerage and the collateral community. We have another 35 apps in the pipe. But fundamentally, what I'd like to say is, and this is to my very good friend Brian Hunt, what we're going to do is we're going to build his vision, which is an agentic AI superhighway.
Awesome.
That's the plan. Thank you.
Awesome. And that's all we have for today with Intellimation. Thank you.